When it comes to any retaining wall, the first step in the process is going to be excavating the ground. Now, we needed to excavate not only where the retaining wall was going to go, but beyond that retaining wall so that we had room for our drainage stone and our tiebacks into the hillside. With the excavation done and then laying out exactly where the wall is going to go, we can move on to the footing, which is going to require 6 to 8 inches of 3/4 inch crushed gravel, and then we're going to compact that all in place. With the footing in place, then we can go ahead and start laying out our first course. Now, this is very important given the fact that the entire wall is going to stack on top of this first course. So we need to make sure that it's completely level, and we need to secure it to the ground below it using 3 feet of rebar spaced about 2 feet apart. In order to do that, we're going to start by pre-drilling 1/2-inch holes in each of those timbers, about 4 of those per timber, and then we're going to drive 3 foot of that 1/2-inch rebar into the ground below it. And I found that the easiest way to do this is actually using an attachment for a hammer drill and simply vibrating it down into the ground. Now, after you've got your first couple courses in place, you're going to want to install your drain pipe. Now, this is going to be a perforated drain pipe, and that's going to be right up against the back of your wall. Below that will be your non-woven needle punched fabric, and that's going to allow the moisture to drain through, but also hold back the soil and keep that from entering into your drainage rock behind your wall. Now, when it comes to fastening all these timbers together, the old school method was driving 10-inch spikes through one board and into the next timber, and that is a lot of swinging of the hammer. Luckily for this project, we're going to be using Simpson Strong Ties timber screws in a 10-inch long screw. So as you can see, we're going to be grabbing into this second board wherever we're fastening with a ton of strength. It also has this wafer head top, which is going to recess nice and flush into the top of our timbers. They're exterior grade, so they're going to stand the test of time, and they don't require any pre-drilling, so you simply sink these into the timbers and all your connections are nice and solid. Now, when it comes to the timber wall itself being structurally sound, you can't just simply build your wall up and then pour a bunch of topsoil or a bunch of soil behind it, because you're going to have what the grade naturally wants to do is come this way. So in order to give this wall some really good strength, you need to tie back into that hill further back. And to do so, you secure a timber that goes into the hillside and then add a T on the back with some timber screws. And if you want to get carried away, you can also use some of that rebar to tie into the ground. So as you can see, the spacing for these Deadmen are first course is buried and pinned to the ground, and then we go up a foot. We've got a Deadman here and a Deadman down there every 8 feet. And then we go up a foot, and then we stagger our Deadmen. So our next Deadman is in the middle of this section, and then we go down 8 feet. Every 8 feet, we tie back in. And then we come up here another foot, and we've got our other Deadman that goes even further back into the soil to make sure everything is structurally sound. When it comes to a timber retaining wall, you're gonna have to make some cuts. That's inevitable. So I found that the easiest way to do it was actually with a little 12-inch chainsaw. And this one's from Ryobi. It works great. It's very easy and light to use. As well, it's all the blade that you need in order to cut through these timbers. The problem with cutting any of the timbers is that you need to seal the edges to make sure that that preservative is in place so you don't get any of that decay. In order to do that, you just need to go ahead and paint on some of that preservative on any of your cut ends. Now, the biggest thing with walls like this, whether they're stone or timber or whatever, is keeping the water away from the wall. That's what's going to cause decay. That's what's going to cause your wall to fail inevitably because of water. Water always will find its way out. Now, what we're doing to protect ourselves against that is we're going to be laying fabric all the way back up the back hillside that we excavated, and then we're going to be filling that entire cavity, which may be a little bit overkill, filling that entire cavity with that washed 6A limestone. That's going to give us good compaction, but it's also going to give us that clean stone for the water to drain through to get down to our perforated pipe and then exit all the way out to daylight. Now, once you get about 2 courses from the top, then you can lay your fabric back across the top of your drain stone. What I did was I laid the fabric across the top of the stone, and then I stapled it to the back of this wall, and then that covers the entire stone so that you can add topsoil for planting or whatever you're going to be doing on top without having that weep into your drainage rock below. Now, I want to point this out that as far as the height of the wall, a lot of things vary from town, city to wherever your location is. Make sure you check into your local zoning and building guidelines to see if you need to pull permits for something like this, or to see how to build based on your area. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have learned something from the process. I know I learned a ton throughout the research that I did and just building the wall in general. Other than that, until next time, be safe and happy building.